sincerely welcome you taking your time to invest in something incredible, incredibly important, strengthening cybersecurity, to understanding it in a very rapid, evolving digital world. So we're going to dive in very soon. But before we start today's masterclass, I would like to hear from everyone on the call. Please go to the chat room, drop your name and where you're joining us from. Bukola joining from Mississauga. So I want you to go to the chat room right now and let us know where you are. Good. Nemo from Vancouver. Welcome, Nima. Okay, I want to get more response. Okay, Brahat Tower from Toronto. Perry from Switzerland. Olamide from Calgary. You're welcome. Muiwa from Hamilton. You're welcome. Drop your name and where you're joining us from. Helly, you're welcome all the way from Virginia, US. You're welcome. I have 21 people on this call, so please, I wanted to just drop your name and where you're joining us from. Okay, so while that is going on, I would like to quickly, just do an overview of what the masterclass is about. So just like the masterclass team, it's focused on cybersecurity fundamentals using NIST CSF 2.0. And our goal here is very, very practical, not theory, not abstract concepts, but, real understanding, that you can apply in your organization, your role, and your professional journey, immediately. So over the next few hours, we're going to be demystifying cybersecurity risk. We're going to be also breaking down how structured frameworks guide protection and resilience, and help you to understand how organizations are moving from a reactive security to a more strategic, risk management. So whether you are a leader, practitioner, consultant, even a student, or simply curious about cybersecurity governance, you are in the right place. So it's going to be very interactive, practical, and I need us to, stay engaged, reflect, and prepare your questions, because we've got, a cybersecurity expert on the call who is going to be, breaking down what cybersecurity is all about when it comes to NIST, CSF. Okay, let me go back to the chat room to see. Okay, we have NK from South Africa, Timothy from Toronto. You're all very, very welcome again. So before we I introduce the facilitator, I just want to quickly do a cyber, awareness pulse check, right? So I'm going to be asking a few questions, and you can drop your answer in the chat room. Are we ready? If you're ready, type in ready so that I can know that you're with me. Type in ready. Okay, Dima says she's ready. Okay, good. Okay, so I can see that we are together. So the first question I'd like to ask is, how many of us have ever experienced or received, a suspicious email that looked real but turned out to be a scam? Let me see your response. Just say yes in the chat box if you have ever, received such an email. Nima says absolutely. Jenna says yes. Oh, so that is usually, that's everyone, right? Even me included, yes. I still received one yesterday, and thankfully that I was able to, notice that it's not real, right? Okay, so let me ask the next question. How many of you believe that your organization is fully prepared to handle a cyber incident today? How many of you believe that your organization is fully prepared to handle any major cyber incident today if it happens? Let me hear you. Does it have yes or not sure? I would like to see that in the chat room. If you believe that your organization is ready, just say yes. If you are not sure, just say not sure. Nima says we are not, but doing whatever we can to be prepared. Thank you for being, honest with your answer, Nima. I'd like to get more responses. I'd like to hear from everyone. If you work with an organization today and you believe that, if there's any cyber incident today, that your organization is ready to be, to fight it or to prevent it or to mitigate it. Other girl said yes. Okay, thank you. I'd like to hear more responses. The answers are not popping in. I have 21 people on the call, so I'd like to hear from all of us. If you're sure, say yes. If you're not sure, just say not sure. Oh, we are not. Okay, Prabha said yes. Okay. More responses. I would like to get more responses. I only have 4 responses. I'm sure that I don't have just 4 people on the call. I have more than 4 people on the call. Okay, not sure. Janet says not sure. Thanks for being honest. Okay, very good, very good. Kelly says, I'm currently not employed, so can't answer directly for this, but I guess my pastor credential was ready. Okay, that's understood. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'll ask the next question. In one word, what comes to mind when you hear the word cybersecurity? And I want everyone to, respond to this. In one word, what comes to mind when you hear the word cybersecurity?
Our website next events. So I please ask that you all follow this page and you will receive notifications as we update this site.
Okay, Nima says transparency. Good, good, good. I like to get more responses. Kelly says cyber attacks. Be prepared to cyber attack. Okay, I'd like to hear from everyone. I have 31 people on this call, so I'd like to hear from you. Defense, okay. Defense, okay. Good, good. Cyber police. I like that word. Cyber police. Very good, very good. Security police, yeah. That's nice. Online guard, yeah. Yeah, interesting. I like to hear more. I like to hear more. Ravi says like security guard. Yes, absolutely. Any more responses? Ransomware. Okay. Prabhat said evolve and prepare. Very, very apt. Okay. Okay, one more response or small responses before I move on to the last question. Prevention from internet and unauthorized access. Absolutely. This person has given us, the definition of cybersecurity in his own word. Okay, that's very, excellent insight. And, what you will notice is that cybersecurity, is no longer just a technical issue. It's a business survivor issue. And, we're going to be diving, in depth into it, today. Okay, so my final question would be, if you had to rate, your cybersecurity maturity awareness personally, between 1 to 5, what number would you choose? 1 to mean that I'm just learning, 3 to say that I understand the basics, and 5 to say I could help, guide implementation. Right. So let me repeat the question again. If you had to rate your cybersecurity maturity awareness, personally, between the rate of 1 to 5. 1 meaning I'm just learning, 3 that I understand the basics, and 5 that I could help guide implementation. I want you to type in your number in the chat room now. Okay. So let's check out. Okay, 5. Wow. Okay, this is 2. Olagir says 2. Okay, CMMI. Okay, Jonathan Moore says 4. Nima says 2, but want to move to 3, and so on. Very good. Thanks for being honest. Tara says 1. Okay. Jenna says studies. There's no right or wrong answer, right? 4. Okay. Ellie says 1. Ade says 1. Okay. Do we have more people? Do you have more people who want to let us know what is their cybersecurity maturity awareness as of today? I'm still waiting for more. Come on, let the comments come in. I want to hear from everyone. 3, William says 3. Thank you, William. Thank you. Thank you for not leaving me hanging. Okay, let's hear from more people. I have 32 people on the call, so I want to see a lot of responses in the chat room, right? So that I can know that we are together, right? What would you rate your cybersecurity maturity as of today? 1, meaning that I'm just learning. 3, to say I understand the basics, and 5, that I could help guide implementation. Like I said, it's not right or wrong answer. It's just for us to see, where we are, just to gauge our audience. D says 2. Thank you, D. Thank you. Thank you. Any more responses? Any more? Okay, thank you to those who participated in the survey, and this is very perfect. So this gives us a very great starting point, and I believe that by the end of today, my expectation is that everyone moves at least one level higher in understanding, right? Okay, so now that we've warmed up and we are aligned, I want us to, move forward. And it's going to be my pleasure to introduce the experts who is going to guide us through today's learning. And his name is Orlando Olumide Ojedide, and he's a cybersecurity governance and risk executive with over 25 years of experience, leading digital risk and compliance transformation across Africa, the United Kingdom, and Canada. He has also delivered over 1,000 initiatives spanning, public sector, financial services, telecommunications, energy, and even education. Orlando specializes in aligning cybersecurity strategy with enterprise risk management, ISO standards, and organizational governance frameworks to strengthen resilience and regulatory readiness. He's also the managing partner at A4S and also the CTO at CertifyGRC. And with a virtual club, I want you to join me to welcome our facilitator for today, Dr. Orlando Olumide Ojedide. I would like to see the welcome, please. Can we give him a virtual card? Let him feel welcome. Thank you. Yeah. Over to you, sir.
All right. So thank you very much, because I have a problem with my video. It came up earlier, and I'm not sure what is happening to it, but I think if you type my name somewhere onto the internet, you probably will see a picture of me, and hopefully it will come up at some point in time before we're done with this particular session, as it is. So once again, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Indeed, it's my pleasure to have everybody here and to be able to go through this particular session with everybody. I was reading in the chat room, some people uh yeah, some people score. So I think per and Pratt, where are you? You're going to be the trainer in this session. I shouldn't bother trying to say anything because you score a 5/5. Pravat, where are you? You and Per should be the Jonathan also. All of you scored 4 or 5, right? You should you should just lead the session. You should just lead the session. So I'm going to be leaning on all the people who scored 4 or 5, and I know some other people here uh also will score 5 here. So there is a gentleman here called Prof. Prof, I'm sure you score 5, but you did not want to you didn't want to say that on the call. But yeah, so all the people that I know that will score 4 or 5, you're going to be my co-trainers in this particular, you're going to be my co-trainers. Hopefully I'll just be here to enjoy myself and not necessarily have to do too much talking since I have a lot of experts here that are on this call. So once again, it's great to be here, and thank you very much, everybody, for taking out of your very busy itinerary to be here. It won't take too long. I know the Bukola booked this for 3 hours, but I know that the people are not going to be able to take 3 hours off their day job to be able to do this. So I'll try and rush it, and then we'll have more all of us talking and discussing and looking at how this thing really works, since I have some experts here. I also have some newbies here, so I think I have my first test. Bukola has done her test, and so let me do one of mine. Okay, good. So I think I have two things I can put up here. So just give me 1 second. So everybody, you will give yourself a mark on this slide on the scale of 1 to 10. I need you to look at it carefully before you give yourself a mark. If you can, so this is my question, right? If you can stand in front of an educated audience, you can stand in front of very knowledgeable people across the business, from IT, from non-IT, and you can articulate everything. Oh no, not everything. Just tell me what, on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me your score in terms of standing before an educated audience. I'm very particular about the kind of audience in this instance. I mean, an audience of professionals. On a scale of 1 to 10, give yourself a score quickly, everybody. 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Everybody, quickly. But you have to look at it carefully, that you can speak intelligently in front of professionals around what each of these things, what they mean, and the security element, because those things can exist functionally, but they can also exist being functional and being secure. And if you want to note that, it's important that you take that into keen consideration. You can have everything that is on my screen being functional, but not necessarily secure. Okay? So, but yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, everybody, I want to see your mark. I want to see the score that each of you is going to give to yourselves. That will be an interesting score. I even want to see Bukola's score and some other people's score here. On the scale of 1 to 10, you can stand in front of professionals and speak to them intelligently around these things. Give me your score in the chat room. I want to see from everybody. Hey. Never, you must be a comedian. She said -1. Never. All right. Mumi has 9. Mumi, you should take over the class. Let me just drop out of this class and hand over the class to you. William, you're 7. That's good. That's excellent. William, that's 7, right? That's great. D says 3. Tara says 0. Ellie says 0. Janet says 2. Right. Okay, Robert, the only reason why you reduced your score is because of databases, right? So, right. Never says that this question is making me feel so bad. Please, I'm here to train, not to laugh throughout. Never, please, don't stop making me laugh. Samson says 5, and a couple of others, right? That's interesting. And I really do think that this is a great place for us to start, right? I think this is a great place for us to start. And if you're going to, my session today is focused on multiple things, but primarily it is 2 things, right? I don't think people are here just so that for being here sake, right? So they're here because it's either you want to get a job in information security, cybersecurity, right? For some people, So I suppose there's some people who have said, oh, my score is 0 or 1 or something along those lines. You're looking to get into information security, into cybersecurity, as it is. That's what it is that I do think. I also believe that there is a different set of persons here. The ones that are now looking, who are probably already in IT or in information security or in cybersecurity, one of those areas, but they're now looking to even move further up the ladder. They want to do more, they want to get more, they want to become more relative to information security. So there's a first group of persons, group A. So if you're in group A, I want you to put A in the chat room, right? I'm in that category where I want to get into cybersecurity. I want to get into information security. I'm new to some of these things. You should put A in the chat room. And if you're in the other one where you say that, oh, I'm already in information security, I'm already in cybersecurity, I'm already along these lines, I even have a job, but I'm looking for something better. I want to move from 100K a year to 200 grand per annum as it is, but then you're in the B part. I'm going to try. It's a very difficult thing to try to marry these two groups of persons, right? But I believe everybody that is here, you're in one group or the other. You're either in the first group where you're trying to get into information security and cybersecurity, or you're in group two where you're already in there, but now you want to move to you want to become the CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer of RBC or one of these big banks as it is. You really want to become the overall head of information security in a huge enterprise as it is. So it's either you're in group A or you're in group B. So everybody, if you don't mind, has to be I'm not here to run through a set of slides. I'm here to discuss a lot of things with everybody. So my objective is not just to go through slides. I have so many slides. I don't even plan to go through any, but we will go through some. But I really need to understand. So there's some people that are in group A persons. All right, I've seen Tara, and I've seen the prophets of this world, the group two, the group B person. Elisha says, so somewhere in between. No, Eli, I didn't give you that option. You must be in one. You must either be in A or you should be in B. All right. So, of course, I know people like Okbay and a couple of others, they're all in the B side of things. So I'm going to try. I'm going to try to marry the needs and the expectations of the people in both groups in this particular session. So one of the key things I want to say to everybody that it doesn't matter whether you're in A group or you're in B group. You have to know everything that is on my screen. Now, please note this, and I'm very mindful of this because once again, some of you are trying to get into information security, some of you are somewhere in the middle, and some of you, of course, you're global experts when it comes to some of these things. But it doesn't matter wherever it is that you sit. What you have to take into consideration is everything that is on my screen can exist functionally. Did you hear that? They can all exist functionally. 24 years ago, I did my project on my undergraduate project or something around stateful inspection for firewalls, and we were looking at all other approaches by which firewalls can inspect packets and isolate them, identify them, and even quarantine them. That was as far back as 24 years ago. So my point is, everybody, first and foremost, you must get very familiar with what some of these elements are. It's a secondary thing for you to start to think about how secure they are. First is that something must exist. Nobody worries about an antivirus until the day they have a phone or they have a laptop or they have a tab or something. You don't worry about that. Nobody's thinking about how do you implement passwords on a device until the day they have a device. So the first thing I want everybody to take out of here today is there are many components in IT that must be functional first. Those things, they must exist. You must have an operating system. You must have a database. You must have these things first. And ideally, they need to be functional. And I guess that's where the IT people really, not that I guess, I know that that's where IT people come in. I've been doing information security for a very long time. I remember the only thing we used to know about information security was some Cisco training and exam in the year 2006 or something like that. That was called CCSP, Certified Cisco Security Professional, something like that. Anybody heard of that? Very long time ago. I remember in the year 2005 or 6 also, there used to be a version of something called the Cisco Safe. Somebody can go online and open the browser and type something there and call it Cisco Safe, SAFE. You can type it into a browser somewhere in there, Cisco Safe. And if you really are going to be doing advanced information security, you need to understand Cisco Safe. And I'm certain there's an updated version of that particular thing. So the first thing I want everybody to take out of here is look at these elements, about 15, minimum 15. Some of them I've packed many things into number 12. I've even packed a lot of things into number 4. I've packed a lot of things into 13. So, some have lumped a lot of things because I was just trying to manage space in there. The first thing you need to know is that everything here must first be functional. There is no point, really, from my perspective, trying to secure something that is not even functional. And as I said, I have a lot of experts on the call. I can see Jonathan here. I can see Okwe here. I can see Prof here. It would be nice for you to make your comments even in the chat room. But I'm telling you that organizations don't think about security until something is first functional. So if you're coming into this, right, and everything that is on my screen is technical, there's a non-technical side of information and cybersecurity. And I would also have the conversation around what is information security and what is cybersecurity. We'll get there in a moment. But first, here is that everybody that is here needs to understand that organizations have all these things. If you go into a bank, go into oil and gas company, energy company, it doesn't matter the kind of organization, retail organization, they have everything that is on my screen. And these things typically should be working. If they're not working, then the tills won't work. You're going to have all sorts of problems with cameras and security doors. So typically, all these things should be working in an organization. And IT people typically worry about these things. That's why they hire them. That's why IT people use the word called configuration, because their job is to configure a browser, configure endpoint system, configure all sorts of things. Okay? So number one, the assets that you have, they must all be functional. If it's not functional, you can detach them, take them off power, ensure that there's no access to them, you can burn them, then nobody's worried about security. So typically, they should be functional. Now, number 2, so functionality of devices, of assets is number 1. Now, number 2 is where security then comes in. Because, right? And this would be like a brilliant topic for like a debate, right? What I want to say is, because these things can be functional but not necessarily secure. So you can argue for or against. Now, can I have a functional laptop that is not secure? You can have a laptop that works and you have no username and password on it. You can have a laptop that works, but there is no antivirus that is installed on it. You can have a laptop that works, but the hard drive is not hardened or encrypted. So it doesn't matter even if you're the CISO of an organization, even as at today. Something that is critical, right, is the functionality of the assets, then the security of the assets. One thing I'm always asking people is that why is it that CIOs and CISOs are not on the same page, that they see these things very differently? Why is there a global quarrel or challenge, or there's tension between the CIO and the CISO? Maybe somebody can share their thoughts and their experience in the chat room. Why is it that in most organizations, the CIO and the CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer, they're completely on two different sides of the divide? It's almost like on two different political parties, as it is. So everybody, please take that away. Organizations have all these devices and assets. And all these devices and assets, they need to not just exist, they need to not just be functional, they also need to be secure. So if you walk into an interview tomorrow And the question the person is asking you is, tell me what we should do. And maybe this is a great interview question. And the employer or the prospective employer is asking you categorically and saying to you, tell me what we should do to secure all our assets. What are the specific things that we should do to secure our assets? We've got browsers, we've got endpoint systems, we've got applications, we've got middleware, we've got databases, we've got operating system. You know you want to get a job in my organization, either as an entry-level type person or middle type role or as a senior person in the organization. Tell me specifically what I should be doing to secure all my assets. Because everything that is on my screen can exist. I've seen Active Directory systems that are functional but not secure. I've seen virtual machines that are functional but not secure. I've seen storage that is functional but not secure. I've seen databases that are functional, they're doing the job. It's storing the data element. You can run your queries, but it is not secure. So if you're here and you're trying to get any kind of job in information security, this is one area that you're going to really have to understand. Unfortunately, I can't explain all this on this call. If we start to do that, we're going to be here till night time. But you have to go away from here asking yourself, what do I need to do to secure everything that is on the screen? If that is my interview, and I should have included security on number 9 and number 10. I should have done that because the focus here, it's not about those things existing. They exist everywhere in every organization. It is really about the security of all these elements. Unfortunately, ISO 27001 will not spell it out like this. NIST CSF will not spell it out like this. The CIS controls does not spell it out like this. None of the existing methodologies that you and I are going to find online or we're going to talk about today actually spells it out like this, saying that what exactly do I need to do? So if you've got ChatGPT on your computer, you can take a screenshot. You can dump it into ChatGPT and you can put that prompt in. Tell me, Mr. ChatGPT, what do I need to do specifically for an enterprise organization? What solutions, what technology platforms should my client needs to put in to ensure that all these elements are secure? I was having a conversation with somebody earlier this week, and I said, how many, and I'd like to hear everybody's answer to this. I hope you're running this ChatGPT prompt based on this. Just take a screenshot, dump it into ChatGPT, run the prompt, it can read it, and let's see what it comes up with. And they share your thoughts in the chat room. Now, this is the question I was asking somebody, and maybe someone like Okwe, one of the great people that are on the call. I have a lot of people on this call. Maybe one of you will tell me, what is the percentage of enterprise organization? Listen to my question properly. Okay, maybe not just enterprise. Let me just say the top 100 organizations, right, in Canada or wherever it is. Some people are from different parts of the world that are on this call. What is the percentage of the top 100 or top 200 companies that are in Canada, wherever it is you're in your country, that can score, this is my question, that can score 9 over 10 when it comes to the optimal deployment of antivirus and anti-malware in their organization? Okay, give me your answer in the chat room. Let me hear from some others. What is the percentage of organizations that can score 9 over 10 when it comes to the optimal deployment of antivirus and anti-malware? It sounds very basic. It sounds very ordinary. It sounds very fundamental. But I'm telling you that it's not a very high score. I need to hear from everybody quickly in the chat room. What is the percentage of organizations that you think have optimal adoption of antivirus and anti-malware in their organization? The top 100 or the top 200 organizations. Can I hear from everybody very quickly? What is the score? What do you think? Right? Good. So good. You will assume my question that it should be 100%. Am I right? You will think it's 100%. But I can trust the opinion of someone like Okwe because that he knows about this work. He's worked with different organizations, including Sophos and some other organizations. William says 50, right? That means something that is as fundamental as the use of antivirus and anti-malware is still a major gap in organizations. It's still a major gap in organization. Information security is not about to go anywhere. It's not running anywhere. Information security is not about to go anywhere. It's still a challenge. Organizations are still looking for people to help them secure all the assets that are right on my screen. Organizations are still trying to do that. All right, 100%. So the point is not 100%. So let's put it we're looking for 80%. Do you think the top 100 organizations in Canada are going to score 80% when it comes to the optimal? I'm very mindful of my words. The optimal deployment of antivirus and anti-malware in their organization. Very few organizations will score 80%. I dare say there won't be more than 60% that can score 80 to 90%. There's still a gap. So it's good time and it's good news for all of us. There's still a massive gap when it comes to these things that we're talking about. The opportunity is still there. There's still a big market out there for you and I when it all comes to information security. And there are many reasons. Sometimes it's because people don't have the technical knowledge. It's because people don't have the skills or the capabilities, whatever that thing is. People sometimes they don't have enough money to buy the right solutions. It could be anything. So if I want everybody to take one thing out of here, all right, most organizations are still struggling with the security of everything that is on my screen. I can tell you that. I can tell you that categorically. I can tell you that most organizations are still struggling from number 2 with number 2. I can tell you that most organizations are still struggling with number 4 and number 5. I can tell you that there's still a big challenge around number 6. I can tell you that most people, even with their Microsoft 365 or their Google Suite, they're still struggling around number 8. I can tell you categorically there's still a challenge in the marketplace. So if you're just coming into information security, welcome. It's a good time. These are still happy days for you to get into information security. If you're just coming into it, if you're an expert already, you can also move up the ladder. I want to ensure, my hope is that Jonathan and every other person that is here, you become some kind of global CISO, some CISO for Microsoft, or some CISO for some global organization. That is what it is that I'm hoping. So let me stop flogging in this conversation. Let me move quickly to something else because of our time. This is another one. All right. Now I want the experts to answer this. I want the experts to answer this. I was doing a training, it was a while ago, and I was able to demonstrate majority of the things on my screen using a Windows 8. It was a while ago. No, it was a Windows 10 computer. I was doing a training and I was demonstrating to them that with the use of just a normal Windows box like the one that I'm using right now for this particular session, each of these things. And sometimes when people are trying to do information security, they're trying to do the very big things. People are trying to focus on firewalls and SIM and PAM and PIM and all those kinds of things. But sometimes you need to start from the basics. Sometimes you need to understand how all these things will work or how they apply to even to your own laptop in your own house. Before we start to talk about the applicability of these things to the entire enterprise, it's important that you even understand how do they work relative to your own system. So Do you really think that organizations have hardened their endpoint systems appropriately, especially in the modern day of also bring your own device? There's still a gap in there. I think every week of the year, I will speak with one organization or the other relative to information security. There's still some big challenge somewhere in there. So I'm just trying to lay some foundation. I have a couple of slides that I'll show to you. Good. I think we usually use this when we're trying during our PCI DSS sessions, right? Whether we're thinking about running VA or PT. Those are two different things, right? Once again, the newbies on the call, maybe you should type it into Google or something and say vulnerability assessment versus penetration testing. Two different things. Vulnerability assessment versus penetration testing. Two different things. Okay? And in the PCI document, it points out some of these things. Okay? Around your ability to know and understand some of these things that are right here on my screen. So once again, it's similar to some of those things, but if you're doing PCI DSS, if all these things are in scope, then our ASV scans, which is pretty much like a vulnerability assessment scan, must cover all these things. Okay? But maybe this is a bit too advanced for some people. Let me go down to some of the basics as it is. So this is computer science or IT 101. Hello, everybody. So that question, the other one that I just did was for the experts. The experts were the ones. Where's the slide? Okay, good. I found it. Yeah, this one was for the experts, right? Let's do something for the newbies. Now, if you're a newbie, and can you speak about all these things? Anybody, go in the chat room. Who are those that are very comfortable with regards to the newbies, all the people that were giving themselves zeros and ones, right? How much of this do you understand? If I give you a laptop, how much of this can you identify within that laptop in itself? Okay? Once again, these are the fundamentals. The thing that I see for some people is that they're trying to skip the fundamentals or the foundation and they're trying to jump to higher level things, right? And it doesn't work that way. I remember in those days, I started from doing something called CompTIA A+, right? And there was no Network Plus or any of those things then. It was just A+. And then we moved to doing things like Microsoft Systems Engineer on NT 3.5 and 4.0 and other things, and CCNA. I remember if you see my CCNA, it's written on it, I think the year 2000, right? That's what is written on my CCNA. That's exactly about 25 years ago. So you have to start from the basics, because if you're struggling with the basics, you're going to struggle with some of the other higher level things. Let me show you a couple of other things and I will move straight to NIST that we're here to talk about. Let's look at this slide. And in modern day, I like to add a P to it. Okay, in modern day, I like to add the conversation of privacy. So I like to call it CIAP. That's my definition for it as of today. CIAP, because it's gone beyond just confidentiality, integrity, availability. It's also a conversation around privacy. So you've got to, when you're thinking about your assets and the types of data and information that is in your custody as an organization, you have to think about the ones that are PII related also. Okay, good. What exactly are organizations trying to secure? Because these fundamentals are there, are critical. Once again, I see people, I interview for organizations, I speak to information security officials and officers in different organizations around the world every week of the year. And you'll be surprised that the people, they can't articulate and itemize some of the things that are put between number 1 to 9 on my screen. Why are you worried about information security? What exactly are you trying to secure? I've made a tiny attempt around the kinds of things that people want to secure, just so that you can keep your eyes on the ball. Because if you're going to do this and do it properly, you have to know not just the asset, you also have to understand the information and data sets that you're trying to secure. And these are some of the things you're trying to secure: your customer data, your employee data, your card and payment information, your financial and legal type records. These are some of the things that you're trying to secure. So you have to understand the data sets and the information, and inside of what asset are they seated. This is critical. If you're an existing CISO, this is important for you to understand that all my customer and transaction records, where exactly are they? In what database? In what virtual machine? Where exactly are they seated? On what hardware? On what storage device do I have these things in themselves seated? Then you now start to talk about, how do I check if the attributes that I'm worried about are there or not there? Attributes like confidentiality, integrity, availability, and privacy relative to the kinds of things you're trying to secure. If you sit in front of an organization and you want to get into you want to work for them as an information security expert or newbie or entry level or mid tier type a professional, the conversation around what exactly are we trying to secure and where is this thing, the data and information sets, the attributes of the data and the information set, and what assets exactly are they seated inside of. Are we good? Are you with me? Anybody following? These are the fundamentals. And it doesn't matter, right? Where you are, if you don't understand the fundamentals, you're going to struggle. This training, normally we'll do this over like a 4 day period, with the fifth day being like the examination day, which is the fifth day. It's actually a 5 day type training, but I'm trying, because we can then lay the foundation. But at least I want to ensure that you get out of this place having enough for you to go to build on, either as a professional or somebody that is just coming into this field. Let's look at this, everybody. Now, before we even do this, can somebody help me articulate in the chat room? Somebody help me. What's the difference between information security and cybersecurity? If you go for an interview and somebody's asking you that, how are you going to answer? I want the experts in the room, please, quickly. I'm depending on your expertise. That is want the experts to tell me what's the difference, information security versus cybersecurity. That's on one hand. Information security versus cybersecurity. Who's going to help me with that in the chat room very quickly? Information security versus cybersecurity. If you have that question at an interview, how are you going to answer? How are you going to answer? Robert, Okwe, William, everybody that is here, Ola girl. Okay. How are you going to answer? Yes, information security versus cybersecurity. Anybody? Everybody, quickly, quickly, quickly. Anybody? I need to know that you're here, right? And that you're following me. Quickly, information security. Which is the bigger bucket? Which is a subset of the other? Anybody? Quickly, quickly, quickly. Information security versus cybersecurity. Hello, hello. Anybody home? Hello, hello. Anybody home? Jonathan, please. Anybody? Tara. Tara says the information security is the broader bucket, right? So that means cybersecurity is a subset of information security. This is very important. This is very important. So Tara, thank you very much. Segal, thank you very much. It is very important that you realize that both of them, one is a subset of the other. All right. Good. So cybersecurity is a subset of information. Thank you very much. All right. Who can you don't really have to answer this, but if you go for an interview and they say to you that articulate the characteristics of these four characteristics, all right? If they say you should articulate it, how do you think you can? Some at an interview they say CIAP. Do you think you can? You can tell them what the clear difference between C, I, A, and P. CIAP. Right? So think about it. You go for an interview, and the person is telling you that clarify for me. Yes, the four exactly. Right? That what do I need to do to ensure that these four things, because they're four different things. They're four different things. For you to understand the concept of confidentiality, and when confidentiality is broken, integrity, when integrity is broken, when availability is broken, and when privacy is compromised. Because it's possible that you do well in two or three of these characteristics and you do badly in one of them. It's very possible. It's possible that you do well in two or three and you do badly in one or two. Very possible. Okay? So, once again, that is just something for everybody to go to think about. Can you clearly, confidently, and articulate, right, the clear difference between these four characteristics? Let me move on very quickly because of our time, so that I don't keep you all here. So, on this list, everybody, if you go to an organization and you just wake up in the morning and they hire you as the information security officer of some organization, hooray, you're going to be very happy, right? You'll be glad. Well, these are the kinds of things you will need to do when you get to work. Am I right? These are the kinds of things. Do you know how many websites that if you give me the authorization to look into them, I will have so many findings as at today. And I'm talking about for global organizations. That's why some of them will not even agree to do a bounty program as it is. So if you're doing information security, you have to ensure all the things on my screen are secure, everybody. This is your job. That person that is on this call that is trying to get into information security, that wants to be the global CISO, these are some of the things you need to worry about. So on this page, which ones do you think that organizations are struggling with? Anybody? Tell me, give me the numbers in the chat room. Which ones do you think organizations are struggling with? Just give me two or three numbers that you think the top 200 organizations in Canada, they're struggling with. Give me the top two or three. Anybody? Where do you think companies are struggling? You that you're trying to get into information security, these are the things you need to worry about. These are the things that keep CISOs awake at night. These are the kinds of things you need to be aware of. Because your problem is going to emanate from something going wrong with one of these things. The challenge you're going to have in your organization as relative to information security is something that is going wrong relative to one of these things. Once again, where is the challenge for most organizations? Where do you think most organizations are struggling? Share your thoughts with me in the chat room. Just give me one or two numbers. Right? Do you think people are struggling? William, thank you very much for that. 1, 2, 3, 6. I like that. Who else is here? Right? Because I can tell you for free, organizations are struggling here. Tara, thank you. 245. Tara, thank you. Any other person? Organizations are struggling in some of these areas. That goes without saying. So, once again, you that you're here, this is how you need to help your own organization. 7, from getting people to do it. We know how. Well, not everyone does it. I agree. 7 looks very simple, am I right? 7 almost looks like, oh, let's take it for granted. But if you and I go to 10 organizations, do you really think all of them will have 7 worked out clearly and appropriately? No, I can tell you that. We don't worry too much about it, but there's a concern in there, right? Let me quickly show you these, and I'll go to CSF, right? This is the other one, everybody. Probably, thank you very much, right? Good. So what about on this page? Where are most organizations struggling? Tell me, give me your numbers on this page now. Where do you think most organizations, if you and I go to do the audit of the top 100 organizations in Canada, where do you think the challenge is going to be? That even the sophisticated organizations, the big banks, where exactly are they struggling? Give me your top 3 numbers. Where do you think organizations are struggling here? Give me your top 3 numbers. Good. Let me read from everybody. I want to hear from you. Right. Robert says 12, 13, 14, 17 and 18. Robert to speak 17 and 18. Okay, good. Let me hear from others. Let me hear from all the other persons here that are on this call. Where are organizations struggling? Some people have not said the word since they've been here. Jonathan, you're here. Some other great people are here. Nikhil, you're here. Where do you think companies are struggling? Anybody, quickly. Ola girl, tell me. Where do you think organizations are struggling? Once again, these are the things that, William, thank you very much. Do you know that most organizations actually have a problem around number 17, everybody? Do you know that if you and I launch an attack around number 17, we're going to find out do you know there's a lot of vulnerability. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, I mean, that's why everybody's always talking about the support, due diligence, third-party assessment, and things like that, right? Good. People focus on transactional data more than they focus on staff, the staff and health related data. It's almost like but financial services, especially, right? Financial services they're very much into number 12. It's almost like people are into number 12 and maybe 13 at the detriment of number 14. It's like companies worry about 12 and 13 and 15. They don't worry too much about number 14, at least not as much as the others. But number 7 is a big challenge. Because you and I have 17 is what I wanted to say, because we've kind of outsourced number 17. We've kind of outsourced it to the marketing team that's their problem. So thank you very much for Prabhat, right? If something goes wrong, the information, do you think if 17 goes wrong, do you think that the CISO can say that he's not concerned, that it's not his problem? Can the CISO say that 17 is not within my scope? Can a CISO say that? That 17 is out of my hands. That it's not within the scope of my concern. Yes, thank you very much, William. So that means 17 is a C problem. It's an I problem. It's a problem, and it's definitely a P problem. Something. Thank you very much. Okay. Once again, everybody, before we start to look into the methodology, everybody that is here, you really need to understand what exactly are the concerns in organization. Has number 18 been dealt with? Nobody has said 18. Is there somebody that has said 18? Is 18 no longer a problem? Okay, everybody used to say that. Okay, probably picked 18. People used to. What's that thing that Sophos used to say that the weakest link, or yeah, what's one of those slogans, right? That people are the weakest link. People are also a couple of slogans that Sophos and Checkpoint and some of these organizations are always using when it comes to 18. Do you think 18 has been adequately dealt with in organizations? Everybody? Is 18 still a big challenge, or it's something that we can overlook and move on? Is number 20 being done adequately by most organizations? Is 20 being done appropriately? Should we forget about 20? Like, oh, 20 is good. People are great with 20 already. Is that the view or the opinion we should have relative to number 20? Right? Timothy, thank you very much. Right? People process tools, right? So 18 is key. Once again, I found that in most conversations around information security, we don't really talk about these things. It's almost like we focus on sometimes only on the technology, sometimes we focus only on the processes. But this is the very essence of information security, everybody. Being certain that the information stored inside of various IT assets within the organization, they're safe and secure. I'll say that again. The information and data sets from any and everything that are stored inside of IT assets, servers, laptops, operating systems, databases, applications, cloud platforms, whatever, that the data sets and the information that are stored in IT assets are kept safe and secure, thinking about C, I, A, and P. CIAP. Okay, good. I think I've laid enough background here. Okay, so let me go to CSF. So everybody, please go online. You will type it into Google that you want to download the NIST CSF 2.0. And if you have it on your computer, please come into the chat room and tell me I have it. Everybody, because I want you to have a copy of the document so that I can go through a couple of things relative to it. See, if you have it, everybody just go online, type NIST, NIST, CSF 2.0. You can put a PDF after it into Google. You'll be able to download it. If you've been able to download it, please, I want you to type that into the chat room. Just say, I have it. Thank you very much, William. So William says, I have it. All right. William says, I have it. William, thank you very much for that. Good. Can I hear some other? All right. Good. Ola, thank you very much. Prabhat, thank you very much. Tara, thank you very much. Who else has got it? I want to be certain because you need to have it. It's not a secret document. It's an available document. Right? Prabhat, that means it says daily bread. Right? Right? Great. Daily bread. I like that. That means you leave off it, right? So that's great. So once again, the market is still massive in Canada and globally. The market is still a big market. If I get the chance, I would have the time today. I would have gone through what is the latest version. Can anybody go online? What's the latest version of the NIST report? What's the latest version of the NIST report? There should be the 2025 version. The 26 is not ready. So can everybody go and look at the NIST, ENISA 2025 threats report? Everybody. Everybody. Have you seen the website? ENISA 2025 threat landscape report. That's a really important report. I was sharing with somebody. I said, honestly, that report will do you much more, will do much more for you than a CISSP qualification. From a real life help an organization deliver value perspective, that annual NIST report and its adoption and its interpretation will do more for you than a CISSP qualification. The qualification for CISSP is great. The qualification for 27001 is great. But I'm telling you, the content of the NIST report has the capability of really helping an organization that is serious. So you cannot say you practice information security and you're not consistently looking at this NIST report and how it applies to your own organization. What should you be worried about? What should you be thinking about as an organization? It's a brilliant report, and they keep updating it. Bukola has done us the good pleasure of putting it in the chat room. It's available online. In another 3-4 months, they usually will bring it out in the month of August or September. There'll be the new version for the year 2026. They do it late in the year. It's a really valuable document, especially if you're trying to take those things into consideration for your own organization. There is no CISO that should not be reading that document. There's no information security professional that should not be looking at that document. And you that you're looking to get into this field, into this line of work, into this area of work, that is a really useful document for you to look at. In between a NIST report, but of course, if you're a newbie, it might be a bit difficult to understand some of the concepts in there. But it also has many things. It tells you about maturity. It tells you about what you should be putting in place. I'm telling you that document will add more value to an organization than a CISSP degree or qualification. And I have a 2000 and I don't know what year was that. 2006 or 2007 CISSP qualification. Can't remember. Okay. So it's a very important report. And so if you also look at this document, so everybody who does not have ENISA, please come into the chat room. I just need to know that you're with me. Please just type ENISA into the chat room. At least you've downloaded it. Maybe after this meeting, you can go have a look at it. At least I want to be certain. Thank you very much, Ellie. I'm promising you, this ENISA report will do you a lot of good. Thank you very much, Elisha. Right? Who else is here? Just type ENISA into the chat room very quickly. Right? Good. Okay, thank you very much. Inka, thank you very much. Prof, it's great to have you here. All right, Prof, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Samson, thank you very much. Right? Probably if you start to go towards the towards the middle of the report, if you start to scroll through it, there's a client that I worked for and we reviewed them relative to this ENISA report. Like, they couldn't believe it. Like, the telecommunications organization. And I started showing that because I've been following that report for like, I don't know, at least 10 years. At the very least, I've been following that report for 10 years as a person. At least. I know I've been following it for way longer than that. You can see that even in this version of my site, I was looking at the 2024 version as at then. It's a brilliant report. But most people download the report, they will do nothing with it. But it's a brilliant report. It's a brilliant report. And it gives you a lot of guidelines. Thank you, William. Thank you, Thaddeus. It gives you a lot of guidance in terms of specific things that you can do. So it's not just a research report. It's actually also a report that contains a lot of guidance in terms of what you should be doing. Remind me at the end of this session that I want to give everybody a gift, maybe 2 gifts actually. So remind me. But let me quickly deal with this, all right, so that I can get this NIST done, all right? So all of you have downloaded it. I can talk about this all day, but NIST, I don't want to talk about it all day. None of us even have all these. I just want to talk about some key things and we'll bring this to a beautiful close, right? So if you look in here, everybody, it's got 6 functions. I'm only going to try to talk about the 22 categories. If we had a 4 or 5 day training, we're going to go through the 106 subcategories. If we're doing a 4-day, 3-4 day training, we're going to go through 106 subcategories. But we can't do that today. That's not the plan. That's not the idea. It's just for us to go through the 22 categories very quickly. We're going to do it very quickly so that we can bring this to a beautiful close. But remind me that I said I have 2 gifts for everybody that stays till the end. And I'll try to round this up in about 30 minutes thereabout. So we're going to speak very quickly around the 22 categories. And I'm going to need the help of all the experts. I don't want to have to talk about this all by myself. All right? Most people only focus on the high-level categories. But the high-level categories is great. People say the devil is in the details. I completely disagree. I think if there's a devil, then there's probably there's probably a God, or there's light or illumination, whatever that thing is in the details. That's not where the devil is. The devil is there because if you miss the details, there's a problem in there. But it's in the details that you actually have illumination. So most people only focus on the 22 categories, and we're going to look at them. They never really look at the 106 categories. But we can't really look at that here. So this is it, everybody. This is it. If there's one thing you're going to take away from NIST, it's this page. If there's only one thing you're going to take away from NIST, this is a good page for you to do a screenshot. You should, if you're an information security person, this should be your desktop background or something along those lines. All right? This is it. But these are just 6 functions and 22 categories. This is not where the real deal is. The real deal is within the 106 subcategories. That's where the real work is in itself. Once again, that takes a lot of time to be able to explain that. But let us look at these 22 over 22 minutes. And then we can go home. All right, good. So, are we ready? On your marks, set, go. Let's do this very quickly. First is for you to look at the 6 functions. So if you have to, this is the 2.0, because when you're looking at NIST, you have to be certain that because there's 1.1, and then now there's 2. So this is 2.0, because in the older version, there was nothing like govern in there. But in this new version, there's govern. So you have to look at it carefully, right? So on the govern, what do we have? That there is a context. If you are doing something called ISO 27001, and who are those that are familiar with ISO 27001? Who are those that are familiar with it? 27001. And I might add that to your gift, and we will spend 3 or 4 minutes on ISO 27001, right? Okay, I have to do that. Otherwise, the gentleman called Muiwa is going to have my head, but I'll do it later. So please remind me, 2 gifts and 27001. I'll do everything very quickly. So context is important. The context of the industry that you're in, the context of the regulator that you have to deal with, the context of your own organization, the context, you have to use, every time we're talking about context, it means that information security has got to be done specifically tied to the context of the organization that you're doing it for. And even if there are 2 banks, even if it is TD that is the bank and you then work into RBC, what you have to do in both organizations, it will be different, because though both of them are in the same industry, the specific thing that you have to do for each of them has got to be different. So context is very important. And if you're ever going to be a great information security expert, you have to do information security relative to the context of the organization that you're doing it for. And if you want to understand context, you can use a model, something called like the business model canvas. Everybody open a browser and type business model canvas and the 9 components. So it's almost like you have to do information security tied to the specific business model canvas for an organization. I move on very quickly to risk management strategy. And you have to understand that even if you go under identify, you will then see risk assessment. So if I were you, the question I'll be asking myself is that what's the difference between risk management strategy and risk assessment? One is a subset of the other. That's the primary thing, because the strategy is broad. It will talk about the risk appetite of the organization. It will talk about their risk methodology. It will talk about the risk policy. It will talk about many things. But when you then come down to risk assessment is the one that then focuses on how do you identify the risk, how do you analyze the risk, and how do you evaluate it. So risk assessment in itself that you can see under identify is a subset of what you can see in the under govern. It also means the organizational context. Though you're an information security person, you've got to work with the people in the strategy department of the organization. Just like when you get to the risk management strategy, the risk management strategy for information security has got to align to something that is called the enterprise risk management strategy. That's critical. So that means you can't really do information security in isolation. There's a slide that I have somewhere. Let me see if I can lay my hands on it very quickly. I want to round up the session. Let me see. I hope it is here. I hope so. I really hope that I put it in here. Okay, brilliant. I have it here, everybody. And I like to show people this. That you've got to think about information security has got to be aligned with many units and departments within an organization. And that's why I titled this Beyond the IT Department. Because I've been talking to you about routers and switches and all those things, it's because that is a very important part and you can't take that away from it. And that's like number 15 on my screen. And it's critical. However, the whole of information security is not technical. There's a portion of information security and even cybersecurity that is not technical. Anybody that wants to get information security right, you have to speak to all these units and departments. If you don't speak to them, the numbers there, ignore the clauses. All the clauses here, I tied it to the ISO 27001. But you can't do information security in isolation, and that's the mistake that some CISOs make. They sit in their room, they want to do information security, they're quarreling with everybody. They're never going to get information security right. If you want to get cybersecurity and information security right, you have to work with multiple units and departments in an organization. And these are the minimum entities that you've got to work with in an organization if you have to get it right, or if you want to get it right. The reason why I came here is like what we're looking at there. So you can see what we're looking at there. The first one is like number 2 here. It's like a combination of number 1 and number 2. I was talking about the context of the organization. The other one we're looking at is like number 5, which means that information security has got to work with the enterprise risk management department. If you don't work with these people, you cannot get information security right. Okay? Let me move on very quickly. Good. Right. So roles and responsibilities, very important because you've got to work with HR. If they're going to be assigning roles and responsibilities, you can't do it apart from working with HR. Once again, it's like this, isn't it? It's like this one. So if you look at in here, you got number 3, everybody. You can't do roles and responsibilities in isolation. Whether all those people work within the information security department or they work in IT or wherever it is, you can't even appoint champions without HR. You cannot organize information security awareness without HR. So you like it or not, information security professionals have to work with HR department. If I move on very quickly, look at the 4th one. You have to have a policy. The policy is not a secret. So everybody, I always like to refer to the HSBC policy. HSBC has got a brilliant policy online. The UK, at least the UK HSBC, the England HSBC. So everybody go online and type cybersecurity policy for HSBC and see what it shows to you. In fact, they used to have a PDF version. Maybe you might still find it. The cybersecurity policy for HSBC, and you can put PDF behind it. And they used to have like a 16, 17 page document. If anybody's found it, look for it. HSBC, cybersecurity policy. You can put a PDF behind it. It's a brilliant policy, about 15, 16 pages, something along those lines. And it's a public document. Every organization has got to have a policy. The policy's got to be approved. The policy's got to be communicated to all the appropriate stakeholders. There's got to be an oversight function. There's got to be a board subcommittee, an executive committee that overlooks what happens in information security. And information security is not the same thing as IT. IT is different. So there's got to be an oversight function. That's what you have under government. And then the new kid on the block, the one everybody's always excited about, the cybersecurity supply chain. Everybody's always excited about that. Everybody wants to do third-party security, which is important, which is like saying here is tied to procurement. Like you have to work with procurement to supply chain. You've got to interface with them. Number 4 on my screen. Information security cannot be done. Cybersecurity cannot be done in isolation. You have to work with different units, different teams within the organization. If you move on very quickly, so I've covered all the things under govern. If I move on very quickly to assets, and I think I've already spoken a lot about assets today. Spoken a lot about assets, the various types and the various categories of assets that you should have. I used to have a slide somewhere. I'm not going to keep distracting myself. I have a slide somewhere where I had an extensive list of assets. I don't even know where it is any longer. But these are all assets too. This slide. These are all assets. And so then there's so many assets that you should have. Remember what it is that I said. The information and the data sets, and in what IT assets are they seated. Most organizations do not have something called a CMDB, a complete, accurate, verifiable CMDB, configuration management database. Most organizations are struggling with an asset inventory. How can you secure what you don't know? How can you secure what you can't identify? How can you secure what it is that you can't track? Asset management is key and is essential. Risk assessment. How do you do risk assessment? So there's the NIST. NIST has a couple of documents. ISO also has. So if you open the browser, everybody, NIST has NIST 830, 837, 800, what else? I think 39. I know there's 30, 34, 37, I believe. You can check it out. That gives some guidance. And there are all sorts of Excel documents that exist when you want to do some of these types of assessments. Okay? And you can even do the assessment in a platform. So if you look at our platform, CertifyGRC platform that we're building presently, the idea is that for you to be able to do risk assessment tied to any of these things, especially this particular one, within our platform. At some point in time, we're going to invite everybody to look at the platform. We're finalizing it. It's almost like our own version of Drata, our own version of any of those GRC tool, but we've done ours differently. You'll be impressed when we get to that stage. We're going to invite all of you for the beta testing of the platform in itself. We're working on some of the APIs and the integration and some of those things as we speak. But that's risk assessment. How do you take, in some of my documentation, as I said, I don't want to keep distracting myself here, but in some of my, I have, these are the kind of dashboards and things that, well, you should be thinking about. Okay, good. I'll just go back. This thing is going to distract me. Please remind me not to do it again. All right. Okay, good. And then the concept of improvement. Okay. So everybody, if you open the browser and type something called the Cybersecurity CMMC, CMMC. Did anybody find it? It's used by the American government, but they use brilliant document for you to think about your maturity assessment. C double MC, cybersecurity C, right? So you can just type it into Google. Did you find it? C double MC. For you to be able to do your own self-assessment or to be able to get an independent person to do your assessment for you. Let me move on very quickly. Identity, authentication, access control. Let me tell you, in this modern world, you're not going to get away from Active Directory. What is the percentage of enterprise organizations that use, and even medium-sized organizations that use Active Directory, or its equivalent from AWS, or its equivalent from Google? So you have to really understand how a directory management system works. How do you set it up? What do you need to do? I've got some Azure people, some AWS experts here on the call. Okay? Awareness and training is important. What I'm doing right now is awareness, is training. It's more awareness, but yeah, it's training also, because this is, I mean, some portion of what I'm talking about is technical. If I was going to do this for the general employees in an organization, I wouldn't do it the way I'm doing it right now. So, but I know that this is a mixed audience. Some people are experts, some people are newbies here. Data security. How do you secure data? Where do you secure the data? Right? The data sits inside of a database. So it's either it's at rest or it's in transit on a network. One of the key things you can't get away from is just the general understanding of encryption. How do we encrypt? What are the types of encryption? How do we set up encryption on our endpoint systems, on the firewall, on the router, on the switch, within the database, within Oracle in itself, within Microsoft SQL Server? How do we do the configuration for encryption in itself? Okay? Platform here, in a sense, is kind of speaking to applications. Okay? Because you can see beneath platform is now technology infrastructure. And I can come here and show you this, right? Okay. Now, wouldn't it be nice for me to show it to you? Visits. Okay, here. So you can see here, when we're talking about data in transit, data at rest, data in use is the other category. And then when it comes to platform, applications, software, SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, how do we secure the various platforms that we're using as an organization? That's a big deal. Okay? Including, look at the last one there, secure software development practices, including what we do around DevOps. And then on the technology side, is really looking at it. Maybe you still have your own data center as an organization. Maybe you're using a public data center. Maybe you're using AWS. Routers, switches, all the data center components, and how you're doing the configuration for redundancy, failover, clustering, and every other thing that is here. Okay, good. If I get out of there, if I come back to my one pager that I was using to drive this conversation, right? That's everything under protect. Then, of course, you need all sorts of applications for continuous monitoring, and you need a SIEM. So, of course, according to this, you really need a SIEM. Who are all the SIEM experts on the call? And what is the SIEM that you're very comfortable with? Who are all the SIEM experts on the call? And what's your favorite SIEM? I want to hear from some people. Robert, what's your favorite SIEM? Okay, what's your favorite SIEM? Everybody, what's your favorite SIEM? Security information and event management. What is your favorite SIEM? Who likes Microsoft Sentinel? Anybody? What is your SIEM? Tell me, what's your poison? Right? Because if you have a really good SIEM, it can help. If you have a really good SIEM, it can help. It can help. Anybody, I want to hear from some people. Tell me your SIEM. Okay, Sentinel. Some people like Splunk. Splunk could be very difficult, though. Could be for some people. What's the IBM one? What's that thing? Something Guardian. Right? CrowdStrike is right. William says there's no good SIEM. Curator, yes, I like that. Curator, he said there is no good sim. It's like sims are like antivirus, right? I'll go to one organization, right? And they'll say, oh, we've just taken out this antivirus, we've gotten this one because we don't like that one. Then the new one that they bought, I'll go to another organization, I will be the other way around. The same one that they just dropped, they'll say, oh, we just dropped McAfee, we decided to go with this. When you go to another organization, it will be exactly the opposite. So sims are like that. Now, if your organization has a good sim, anybody used the ELK before? If your organization has a good SIM, right, it would help with regards to continuous monitoring. Definitely, it would help you with advanced event analysis. But for some of those things under Respond, you will need more than a SIM. Of course, you've got SolarWinds for monitoring. They have all sorts of tools in that organization. You will also need the integration between your service desk management application and your SIM. So you can see that you need a lot of monitoring, SIM, and other types of monitoring tools. But you also need you need to be able to record the incident. You need to be able to escalate, analyze, report. And the best platform for doing everything under Respond is a service management tool. You're going to need beyond the SIM if you want to get the things under Respond, if you want to get them right. And last but not the least is how do you recover? So a SIM is not going to help you with some of these things that are under Respond and recover. You're going to need a service desk management system to be able to do some of these things. And you might need all sorts of other platforms that they're integrated with. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the 22 categories you should worry about. If you go to an organization, you can do a quick assessment for them around this. I can do a quick assessment. One day I can get this assessment done. High level assessment. But if you look in here, if you go through the material, especially the what you've been able to download, you see that under each of these areas, the specific things they want you to look at. The specific things they want you to assess and then define whether you're fine or not, whether it's red, amber, green, and what you need to do about it. Once again, I want to round this session up now, but take this away. Once again, take a screenshot, start to think about this. If you're somebody that's just getting into the industry, take that document and start to go through it. Start to review it line by line. How does this apply to my organization? I'm targeting to go to work with a telco provider, with a gas company. How does this work? How does this apply? What should we be looking out for? In a full training session, those are the kinds of things that we look at. Okay, I hope you're happy with that. I hope you have that. So I'll do this, and then I'll bring this to a close. I'll take thoughts and opinion. So I said I was going to talk to you about ISO 27001. It's a brilliant standard. But it's a management system around information security. So you must know information security before you can build the management system around it. Does that make sense? If you don't know the area of work, the subject matter in itself, you're going to struggle to build a management system around it. So it's important, if you're going to do well, if you're going to be hired by an organization, for you to actually understand the basics. And Miwa, that is on the call, likes what's the name of that thing? CompTIA Network Plus and CompTIA. So everybody open the browser. Look at the content of CompTIA Network Plus. Look at the content of CompTIA Security Plus. The challenge is that if you skip Network Plus and jump straight to Security Plus, you might struggle. Except you have a really good background already. So it's good for you to look through Network Plus. But it's important, essential, compulsory for you to take a training on Security Plus. If you look at the CompTIA Security Plus curriculum, and you can look at it online, it gives you all the basics that you need, right? So inside of 27001, it's got something called organizational controls. But the real area I wanted to show to everybody, look at these two areas, everybody on my screen. Look at these two areas. As I said, this is a separate conversation. This conversation will take me at least another 30 minutes to go through, which I don't think everybody's got that amount of time. So you have to go back to your work You've already taken a lot of your time out to be here. I hope you've gotten value from this session. But one point in here, everybody look at people controls. You can be in information security, and that's your area of specialization.
So void can also just be taking some of your
Because technical people struggle here. Technical people struggle with people
country.
controls. So information security is not just for technical people. There's a portion of information security that belongs to an HR person. And those are the things that you have under people controls. Extremely important. There's a portion of information security that is tied to physical controls, especially if you have your data center in your building. And if you also have sensitive areas in your building and you have a lot of sensitive data and information and all sorts of other assets that store data and information in your organization. But the real thing I wanted to show to everybody is the people controls. Once again, this is a separate conversation for a different day. I can't really do that, right? Because here you also have the technological controls. Because this is core technology. And so even the ISO standard realizes that there's a portion of it that is not very technical. There's a portion here that is extremely technical. And I like to use this color coding because I say the areas in green, they're very application related. Either off the shelf or custom built. However, the areas in blue, they're very network related. And there are many other areas that are also network related here. In fact, I think most of the other areas, a lot of them are network related. So I like to do that distinction between the things that are network related and the things that are just pure application related. But this is information security. Everybody, there's a people side to it. There's a physical control side to it, and there's a technical side to it. Right. Good. What is one of the gifts that I want to give to everybody? You're going to send me a thank you card for this. And I promise you will send me a thank you card for this. So everybody go online and open a browser very quickly and type.
You are likely referring to financial freedom or a specific investment. Would you like me to help you draft that thank you card or
Sorry. Everybody go online and type MCRA, Microsoft MCRA quickly. Everybody go online and type into Google because I want you to download the version from last year. MCRA, the Microsoft Cybersecurity Reference Architecture. There is a PowerPoint document you should be able to download. If you're able to download it, everybody, can you come into the chat room and tell me if you're able to download it? Okay, everybody. This is a brilliant gift if you really want to get into this. This might not be for entry-level people. But your ability to be able to draw a custom, to develop a custom cybersecurity reference, brilliant. For your own organization, because this is not your organization. This is just a general sample. And if you go through the PowerPoint, it actually shows you how it comes up with the building blocks that make up this particular thing. So every time we're doing enterprise architecture, and I want to talk about this, it's a big deal. I like to use this as a brilliant, and it's a publicly available document. William has got it. Robert has got it. If you keep going into the document, there's a page where it shows you how to put the building blocks together to build a custom cyber security reference architecture for your own organization. That's the last update to it. The one last year. Maybe they'll do a different update this year. Maybe. I used to be a Microsoft junkie, so hey. But it's a brilliant word. And you see that most organizations don't have a cybersecurity reference architecture in place. They don't. They do not have a cybersecurity reference architecture in place. And this is important. And that's why I said this is one of the gifts that I'll give to you. The challenge here is for you to go back to your own organization and say to yourself, Now, how do I build a custom cybersecurity reference architecture for myself or for my organization? How do I do that? How do I build a cybersecurity reference architecture for my own organization? Something specific for our own use as an organization. Something specific for our own use, specific to your own organization. So it's in the chat room also. I mean, it's in the chat room. Brilliant. So I think I've been speaking for almost 2 straight hours, at least 1.5 hours straight. So I want to hear your thoughts. Everybody, I have a lot of people on the call. Roger, you're here. You were one of the first people to come in here. Thank you very much. Roger, so share your thoughts with me. 2 things that I'd like to ask everybody. What's your big takeaway from today? What's that big thing? And is there any other thing you still want me to talk about? I want to hear from everybody. I have Felipe here. I have Frederick here. I have Elisha here. I have Jonathan here. I have Mahesh here. I have Nikhil here. I have Olagel here. I have Shegun here, Femi. I've got Okwe. I've got Pasindu here. I've got Per here. I've got Prabhat, I've got Ravi here, Roger. I haven't heard from a lot of people. So I want to hear from all you. I got Sukra here, Tara, Timothy. All right. Thank you very much. Samuel here. So please share your thoughts with me. 2 key things. What is your big takeaway from this session today? And is there any other thing you still want me to touch on? Very quickly, everybody, so that we can bring this to a beautiful close. I want to hear from you. If you want to speak, if you want to type, but I need to hear from everybody very quickly. What's your big takeaway? And then we have a feedback form. If you fill the feedback form formally, we will share with you a foundation exam in cybersecurity. A foundation exam in cybersecurity. It's an accredited certificate in some foundation exam. But yes, but I want to hear from everybody. Your big takeaway, if there's any other thing you still want me to talk about. Ha 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 ha, brother. Absolutely. I mean, thank you very much for that, brother. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, there's definitely a big area in HR. There's a massive area in HR for cybersecurity. And if you remember the slide that I showed, that I said there's an alignment between what you do as techies and information security experts working with other units and departments in the organization. Okay? Okay, so those are 2 areas. Okay, good. William, yeah, yeah. Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much, William. I told you the MCR is beautiful, especially if you start if you're one of those people that are thinking about how do I put together and some kind of cybersecurity or information security architecture for my organization. It's a brilliant reference document. It's been around for a while. They've updated it over and over again. There are 2 feedback forms in the chat room, so please look at them. Please, especially the feedback form. And if you're interested in any kind of gap assessment, you can fill the other one. Well, thank you very much, William, for that. Yes, thank you, Okwe. Thank you very much. It's been great to have you here. We're done. Timothy, thank you. Thinking of how to do that. Timothy, that's a long conversation. The point is that you can't use the reference architecture as is. You have to first do it for somebody has got to do it for the organization before you can then audit it and all that. So thank you very much, Okwe. Good. Can I hear from others? Can I get feedback form? And I want to hear from you. We're bringing this to a beautiful close. Thank you very much. Who is user? Please, we don't know who that is, right? So yes, please, it's CIAP. Always think about P. The P is definitely an extension of the CIA. So there's without a doubt. Without a doubt. The C is definitely an extension. The P is definitely. So that's important, okay? That's very important. Right. Can I hear from others? What's your big takeaway? On one hand, what's your big takeaway? And is there any other thing you want me to talk about? Quickly, everybody. I want to hear from everybody. We're going to bring this to a beautiful close now. I want to hear from everybody. Yeah, no, it's not. You can try it on your phone. It's not actually. So yeah, because we have to be mindful of that. So sometimes people are worried about the yeah. So actually, you should just type to an extension on certified GRC Bukola. So you should just be certifiedgrc.com/feedback. Right? Because people are usually worried about Beetle links. Yeah. No, it's not, Robert. Right. Yes, you can. Well, Timothy, what you should use actually is pass the foundation exam in cybersecurity, and then that one you can easily use. Okay, pass the exam. Once you fill the feedback form, you will get the link for the exam. So pass that, and then you should use that. I've forgotten how many units it will give to you because it's like it comes down to including the time for the exam and all that comes down to about 5 hours or 6 hours or something along those lines. Okay, Timothy. So yeah, we'll send you the link. Just fill the feedback form. We'll send you the link for that. So foundation exam in cybersecurity, leveraging NIST 2.0. Good. Any other person? Can I hear good feedback? What is your big takeaway from today? What did you learn? What are you taking away? And is there any other thing you want me to talk about? Prof, thank you very much. Right? Uh, Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you, Prof. We appreciate you. Thank you for all your support. Appreciate you, sir. Good. Samson. Right. Yes, Samson. I mean, we'll support you in your journey. We'll definitely help and support you in your journey. Becoming some kind of global CISO as it is. The foundation exam, I think it's like a 1 hour exam because it's a foundation exam. 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I believe. So yeah, but you get the link, Alicia. So, but 1 hour, 1.5 hours because the full exam is a 3 hour, 2.5 hour, 3 hour exam. The foundation is just about an hour thereabouts. Just 40 simple questions. Okay, Alicia. So, but fill the feedback form. You will definitely get the link. Okay. Any other person? What's your big takeaway? And any other thing you want me to cover? What is your big takeaway? And is there any other thing you want me to cover? Any question that you might have? We can talk about information security for the whole year. So we can do this. We can wake up and speak about information security for an entire month, including Saturdays and Sundays. So this is just like some kind of uh it is a masterclass and it's just a tip, right? Okay, good. Mr. Muiwa, all right, so please keep putting your thoughts and opinion in the chat room. Alicia, okay, good. Enisa, oh, Enisa is brilliant. Trust me, Enisa is brilliant. I told the day I told her, I said, Enisa will do you more good than the CISSP certification if you're really looking to add value to your own organization. Absolutely. Can I hear from all the others? Roger, you came in very early. You're not saying anything. Roger, where are you? You came in very early. Some people came in very early. What was the name of the other lady? She also came in uh very early. She also came in very early. Jonathan, please say
I think it's
something.
Dina, but she's left. Or I think there was
Okay,
a chat
Fair,
there.
say something. Pacindo, say something. All right, Mr. Miwa. Frederick, say something. Ade, say something. Right, Ravi, Roja. Roja, we're not leaving here until you say something. You and Salma, right? Right? Okay, but thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, William. Thank you very much for all your comments. Thank you for joining me as my co-trainer. Appreciate you, your William and Prabhat. Thank you very much, and hola, girl, and yeah, thank you very much. All my co-trainers here. Miwa, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Orlando. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here. And thank you, distinguished audience, for taking our time to be a part of this very interesting program. And I hope that a lot has been learned and there's a lot of takeaways that you're going back to as a person or you're taking back to your organization. So please Like Dr. Orlando mentioned, please quickly take our time to fill the feedback form. And also we have the interest form, which of course, for those who might have felt backward, especially when we started discussing a lot of advanced things around NIST and the likes. Like Dr. Orlando rightly mentioned, it's very important that you understand the basics of information security. And CompTIA is a vendor neutral start point, which of course we might be able to work with you on if you indicate in the interest form. And of course, we'll guide you all the way to becoming an IT GRC expert. So please let us know. And also, if you want us to do a gap assessment for you around NIST CSF, please just let us know. And if you look at the interest form, you can see that there's a part that says orders. You can check the box, and please let us know specific things that you might want us to work together with. We're very open to collaboration as well, because I know I see a lot of freelancers, I see a lot of independent contractors also on the call. So it will be great to collaborate with you to be able to work together around these particular area of work. So it's very important that collaboration is very key and is very important to us as an organization as well. So thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And of course, Prof, thank you very much for gracing us with your audience, and also all the distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I see you, Mr. Frederick. Thank you very much. It would be great if I can see some faces, just like Mr. Frederick has obliged us. Thank you very much. So I can see you in your corner office. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. So if you have any questions around the interest form, if you have any questions, let me know. And of course, and we will be able to work with you or assist you. And if you like, I can drop my phone number also on the chat box. You can call me. And if you have any further thing that you might want to discuss around at this, because I know that a lot of people might want some further guidance, one-on-one tutorial session, tutor session, because yeah, it's very important that you understand the concept around information cybersecurity before you can decide to say, I want to become a lead implementer around information security or lead auditor around information security. You really cannot audit efficiently what you do not know how it's been implemented, or the concept that guides the particular area of work. So if you are interested, please feel free to reach out to me. My number is on the chat box. And of course, you can reach out to me anytime and we will be able to sort you out. Thank you very much once again. Please complete the interest form. We will be glad to work with you more, both from the workforce human capital development and also from the consulting and managed services, both as a corporate organization or even as an individual freelancer or individual independent contractor. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure having you, and I hope that a lot has been learned, and we look forward to catching up on our next session, which will be coming up next month. We will keep you posted, and please complete the feedback form so that you can get access to the foundation certification exam, and of course, where you can use to claim your CPDs for those who are requesting for that. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, once again, and do have a great afternoon. Thank you.